All right, good morning, everybody. My name is Scott Lavin. I'm the Director of Research and Partnerships for the Council to Advance Hunting and the Shooting Sports, and I want to welcome you to our national webinar series. Today, we're going to be doing a webinar on resources to support archery range development. Really want to thank our collaborators. We've got some really great presenters today. We have Tom Decker, who's the branch manager for the Office of Conservation Investment with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. He'll be investing in us today. This is our first collaborative webinar with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and Tom and I are working hard to bring some more content that's relevant to that audience as well. We have Carl Green, who's the Vice President of Business Development with Easton Foundation. He's going to be presenting on some really incredible resources to help organizations build new archery ranges. And then we have Nicole Nash, Senior Manager of Outreach for the Archery Trade Association, with their revised guidance on archery range development, on some resources that once your range is up and running to help keep people coming through the doors and being profitable. So with that, we have a lot of federal employees on today's call, a lot of refuge managers. Tom has got some communication to help collaborate these resources together on federal properties. I'm not sure if I'm putting that correctly or not, Tom, but with that, I'll hand it over to you, sir.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate the invitation today. Yeah, just so some initial background so folks have, but at the Archery Trade Association meeting in January this year, and the service is there with our programs, had just an awareness from both Nicole and Carl of great resources that were available through grants, particularly related to, in my mind, the largest sort of infusion of funding to R3 programs and infrastructure to enhance archery. And so we're just really wanted to share that information out with folks. We've already done one webinar for state agency range people, folks, and wanted to make folks in the federal system who manage facilities, either fish culture stations, refuges, or if they're grant managers in the Office of Conservation Investment, just an awareness that these resources are out there. It might fit or align with some of the work you're doing or the planning you have for the future. And for grant managers, how it may intersect some of our grants with partners. So really just wanted to welcome you and just say this is really information sharing 101 with some great resources that are available for the future. So thank you, Scott.
Oh, thank you, Tom. And Tom makes a really good point. This content came out of the Range and Shooting Sports Committee, which is a collaboration with the International Hunter Ed Association and the Council. It drew a lot of interest, so we wanted to put a webinar on this. This webinar is being recorded. It'll be available to you on the Council's YouTube channel after the fact. And so with that, just some housekeeping real quick. Because of the volume on the call today, this presenters and I will be the only people who you'll see and who have access to a microphone. But we do want Q&A to take place. There's a chat function at the bottom of your screen, and I will do my best to address questions from the presenters at the end of the presentation. So by all means, please, we're going to be talking about some really great opportunities. We don't want any knowledge to escape, so please feel free to ask plenty of questions. With that, I'd like to introduce Carl Green, who's with the Archery Easton Foundation. They've put together a really incredible resource for some incredible support to build ranges in urban areas. And with that, Carl, I'll hand that over to you.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks for the invitation to come in today and share this. I want to share my screen here. Some of you may be familiar with the Easton Foundations. What the Easton's Foundation, our primary objective is to inspire growth in archery. Many of you on the call today are trying to grow conservation, hunting, and shooting sports as a whole. We do focus more on the archery side of that. But in an effort to inspire growth in archery, we would like to put together a nationwide network of independent archery facilities. You guys put together a lot of archery ranges at your refuges and wildlife areas around the country, which is a valuable resource for those that are accessible to those areas. how do we grow that? How do we expand that? How do we get that into urban areas where more people can access it and get to those? Uh, as the foundation, we operate three independent centers ourselves. And so we've learned a lot from those challenges. We've helped other facilities build around the country. We've learned a lot over the years, and we feel like we have a lot of resources to help make this happen. These facilities will address many of the challenges facing participation in our sport today. And what are those challenges? Those challenges generally come down to accessibility, available instruction, programs and teams, and competitive opportunities. Access, in accessibility, you have outdoor ranges, and there's always a need for more, but there's a drastic need for indoor facilities. If anybody that has started a youth program, one of the hardest parts of running that program is finding somewhere to shoot. Sometimes the rec department will let you go in and say, yes, you can use the baseball diamond to have your class until you tell them we have to quarantine or cordon off a safety zone. And then suddenly it's, well, it's not going to work here. So where do we go? An indoor facility kind of contains that safety requirement. And also a lot of the today's generation is simply are not interested in going outside. So how do we provide that uh, portal, if you will, to get them started in a sport? We feel like indoor facilities is a great way to do that if we can increase more of those. Available instruction, we need more certified coaches and program guidance. What do you do with these kids if they are interested in archery? Programs and teams. They need programming to take part of on a regular basis. Everyone wants to be a part of a team, to that camaraderie that comes along with being a team. And then they want competitive opportunities. No one wants to just practice. They want opportunities to go participate. So how do we do this? We need partnerships. We want to partner with local and state municipalities to build community and regional and national archery facilities that recognize and promote the sport of archery alongside all other recreational sports. When we make shooting sports just as visible as baseball, football, soccer, pickleball, and tennis, okay, how do we do that? We need to bring our opportunities closer to the other sports so that they can see us just like any other sport instead of one that's hidden somewhere else, way out of town, that's 30, 45-minute drive to get to. Education. We need instructors and program education. How do you coach? How do you manage an event? We need judges. Access, the availability for access to local groups such as 4-H, Scouts, S3DA, NASP, JOAD. All of these programs need somewhere to go. If you've got a program, it's hard to find somewhere. So how do we create access for these programs? Competition opportunities, local leagues and competitions along with state and national events utilizing this network across the board. I have the vision of a national community archery challenge. I believe many of tomorrow's champions are simply not noticed. They're out there, but they can't afford to travel around the country and be seen. If we grow this network across the US, then more of these kids will have the opportunity to be seen and participate in shooting sports opportunities. What are the next steps? We need locations. In doing that, we go through a feasibility study. We look at population density, the existing clubs and activity in the area. Is there a college or university that has a program or willing to start a program? Are there already indoor ranges nearby? We're not in this to create competition. We're in this to expand opportunity. If the area is already, if they already have an adequate indoor range that fits the need, there's no need to build another one nearby. Local support. Is an archery range wanted in that community? What is the support for it? And land suitable for construction. I've spoke to many areas in a few states where there's simply no land available, but there are some older buildings that are not being used, and they're interested in repurposing those buildings. So that's also an option. And an operating plan. How would you operate this once you get the building? This is a quick glimpse of publicly accessible indoor ranges around the U.S. The green areas there are counties that have at least an eight target bell range. The blue have at least a 16 target bell range, and the red has at least 32 indoor ranges. And we split this up as 18, 16, and 32, basically as a community, regional, and a national level of center. Community regional center, 8 to 9 target bells. You can run a lot of programs in a range that size. 16, you can really run some large events when you're doing indoor. They have timing, line times, kind of like going to the golf course. You pick a tee time. So you can run pretty large events with a few targets indoors. And 32 is a huge range. There's only 3 of those currently right now that we identified. One is in Chula Vista, California. The other is Salt Lake, and the other one's in Yankton, South Dakota. We have conceptual designs that we've put together to set the standard for various levels. The 8 community, which will handle the 8 target bells, the community range, which handles local programs, leagues, and small competitions. There again, the regional can handle larger stuff, and then the national can even handle the international indoor and outdoor events. We are not against outdoor ranges. We still want to see outdoor ranges. But in order to grow indoor ranges means that there are areas that otherwise would not be able to have an archery range with the exception of an indoor facility. So even if they have room for indoor and not an outdoor, that's perfectly okay. This keeps you from eliminating an area just because of the outdoor space needed. This is the design that we've put together, and we do have MEP plans for the community and the regional designs. Many areas, if they're not already archery people and they're trying to get a grasp of what you want to build, they don't want to start from scratch. So we had MEP plans put together to give them something they can take. They're basically 95% complete. They can carry it to their local design or their local board in that community development board, and all they have to do is get them updated for local codes and compliance. So this basically a 7,000 square foot warehouse with bathrooms, lighting, and heating and air. That's really all you need. We do want to encourage the 25-meter shooting distance. You can do a lot with a 25-meter indoor range. You can run a 25-meter sanctioned World Archery USA Archery match. You can do a 30-yard indoor 3D event, which will be one of the most attended local events you will have as an indoor 3D competition. And then you've got your spectator space and restrooms. The regional facility is double what the community is, with a little bit different reception area there. And if you'll notice in the picture, we only brought the wall up to the shooting line to divide both sides of the range. The reason we want that divider there is because you may have programs going on one side while you have public shooting or a class going on the other side. You can now operate 2 independent things during the day, yet you have visibility from a safety standpoint of the whole facility. If you were running a large match and utilizing both sides at the same time, your director of shooting stand would be based right there at the end of that wall, and they can still see both sides of the facility from one point. This is the conceptual layout of a national facility. This is one that we hope to be building, breaking ground here within the next year down in Lakeland, Florida. This will host 32 indoor target bells, which has 4 indoor 25-meter ranges. So if you remember the community design layout, there are 4 of those inside this one building, as well as classrooms, collapsible walls, administration area. The outdoor range has 3 64 target Olympic fields, and then there would be an ADA accessible 3D and field course around the backside of this facility. Everyone thinks these are lovely, they're beautiful, and they are, but we do not need these all over the country, but we do need a few of these around the country. So think of your community building up capacity to send to a regional location, and all of your regional locations building up to send people to a national location. And of course, it always comes down to funding. How do we fund these buildings? The matching grants that are available for construction, you can get PR dollars. Easton has a matching grant available. Parks and Rec grants are available, and there are other resources out there that have to be identified. Long-term sustainability and operations plan, that is really critical. Even if you come up with the money to build these buildings, how are you going to maintain it? That's why we want to partner with state and local municipalities, is because they already have an infrastructure to take care of buildings or an infrastructure to take care of recreational programs, and they're more likely to be sustainable for long term. And do they have experience with capital projects? So we look at all of these different areas. It is not a hardcore, if you check all the boxes, you get a grant. We look at all of these different variables and come up with a recommendation as to whether to get funding or where to go look for more funding. And we're meant to be a resource. We have people call me all the time because they're looking at already building a building. They already have funding for a building. How do we lay this out? How do we lay our outdoor range out? So I'm always available to look at a project you already have, whether it be the community network design, or whether you just want to see the plans, or you want to look for help looking for more funding. That's all I have, Scott, there. I'm not sure when you
Okay.
want to take questions.
Thank you, Carl. So because we're recording this and this is going to be a replayable resource, we're going to get through the presentations and then come with the questions. I see the questions coming into the Q&A. You guys can use the Q&A or the chat section. I think looks like some of you guys are texting me questions, which is not the first time there. So thank you, Carl. I really appreciate this. The conceptual designs that you guys already have as an offering is just an incredible resource. As a former state wildlife agency employee, paying an architect to design something just adds pain and time to the process. And I think it's brilliant that you already have that as a resource. So good on you for that. Um, let's move forward here with Nicole Nash and what the Archery Trade Association has put together to help archery ranges be more successful. Nicole?
Perfect. Thank you. Let me switch to share my screen. Perfect.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks to Scott and to Tom for the invitation today. I truly appreciate the invite to be here. This is exciting that ATA gets to share the resources that we continue to put together as the outreach team and supply as a storyteller of the success stories we're hearing. So today I want to share tools and resources designed to make your job easier, not to add more to your plate. And then hopefully with this discussion, it'll spark a few ideas that you're excited to try. In short, ATA wants to be your go-to for practical tools and archery programming support. Let's see. As you can see on the slide, ATA's mission and vision. For those that are not aware of the ATA, we serve as the industry trade association for all things archery and bow hunting. We host an annual trade show for our members, and this year we introduced a new format, which was exciting. A full week of archery, including our trade show, archery tournaments, and an archery and bow hunting super show that was open for the first time for consumers. So over the course of 4 days, we have the 2 days of the traditional trade show, and then we switch over to the consumer portion as well. We want to be your go-to ally for archery range and program education. That includes tools, connections, and support. Again, in short, we elevate storytelling to help everyone else to be successful. So today's focus, I want to highlight a few of the many resources we have available, focusing on all things archery programming and range development. As Scott had mentioned, we want to talk about the newest version of the Archery Range Guide. We have some programming outlines to talk about, event planning. I want to include some of those stories of success with a case study, and then how to continue the conversations. Since the Archery Range Guide series debuted in 2019, it has helped shops and community groups become safer, be safer with more accessible archery experiences. This newly refreshed edition builds on that success with practical insights that match how today's retailers operate and how to create that business portion of archery programming. So what we want to do, or what we accomplished in this guide, is we balance business needs with a welcoming atmosphere that keeps people coming back. Because when people come back, they continue to enjoy archery, they talk about it, they share about it, and they hopefully are bringing more people with them. This guide intentionally focuses on revenue producing activities. We listen to our retail members to understand what's working in their shops, what's not working in the shops, and we've used that insight to shape this resource. It's designed to share practical ideas and proven strategies, and we hope that helps you build consistent, sustainable revenue within that programming on that range. We talk about group classes such as weekly intro to archery sessions for adults, for kids, for families, which are great for building confidence and reoccurring income and bringing more people in. We talk about private lessons with tiered pricing, and that is serving beginners through competitive archers. So then that way kind of gives you an idea of no matter what their archery journey is, there's some price points to consider when putting that business into place. And then one of the fun things that I love to talk about is the fun shoots, or are the fun shoots and themed events that keeps participation high between those structured programs, keeps people coming back, and allows them to invite a friend or a family member to join them. And then with the pricing strategies, that accounts for equipment, staffing, time, so programs can reflect their true value. And at the end of the day, the range is profitable to continue that cycle of life. For example, this section walks retailers or readers through range development from start to finish. So when it comes to designing a range, it's not just where the lanes go. It includes guidance on planning, layout considerations, incorporating natural and man-made barriers, especially for outdoor ranges, to minimize risk and to create a safer environment, because at the end of the day, that's what we want to make sure. We include sample floor plans to show how a range can realistically fit into existing spaces. We have considerations for those that want to maybe create a temporary range in an outdoor setting and how to do that efficiently. The appendix provides ready-made templates that reduce planning time, which is key, and helps eliminate guesswork. So we want you to focus on daily operations and growth. For example, for those that are maybe considering additional staff, we have created a job description to outline key responsibilities and expectations. So that way, when it comes to putting that job plan together, announcing it, you'll have everything you need ready at your fingertips. And then finally, we emphasize smart design when it comes to designing a range. Lighting, seating placement for spectators, the traffic flow, lane configuration, all influence those comforts and efficiencies. So we want to make sure that we highlight that in this resource to, again, eliminate any possible barriers. Programming outlines for retention. Structured programming is what keeps participants coming back. We've developed programming outlines based on those success stories from our members, from retail shops, from nonprofit organizations, coaches, instructors across the country. These templates are ready to use, ready to implement as soon as you have them in your hands. And again, it's to help save time on how to make things work. So those detail outlines, for example, we have for beginner programs, that includes an introductory group class and beginner-friendly leagues. It makes it simple to add new offerings without extensive planning. And for example, the introductory group class is one of those non-committal programs to where it's a first step for someone who has never tried archery before, or maybe a family that wants to try archery together. There's no 6-week commitment. It's a 1-hour introduction, and we have an outline for that. We also include a sample class progression pathway from introductory lessons to more advanced instruction and what that would look like. This tool is designed to help show how participants can find their place in archery and continue to grow with confidence. It includes beginner classes, introductory lessons, still while offering pathways for them to deepen their skill sets and diversify their knowledge and to truly find their pathway in archery that they want to take. Even if it's still becoming a recreational archer in the backyard, they want to become a bow hunter, they want to bow fish, or if they want to become a competitive archer. Next, let's highlight some fun, low barrier ways to bring new people in. Again, this is one of the more enjoyable things for me to come up with, or for our team to come up with, is to listen to those stories and successes and how people are thinking outside of the box when it comes to archery programming and planning. So fun shoots and events. This is an ATA resource that includes details for events such as cosmic archery with black lights and neon balloons or UV tape and paint, or to seasonal themed events with an archery twist. We have examples and ideas for archery, bow hunting for every month of the year to continue to keep that excitement going. Community events can be simple, out of the box, and creative. You can take a one-off activity and turn it into an intro to next steps and all archery options with the community. We talk about different ways for community outreach events. The hoverball system, for example, is a great option for small spaces and for areas where you can't have that safety buffer, or that you don't need a safety buffer to do the hoverball system. We also talk about partnering with local archery clubs and teams. That way you have resources within your local community and for folks that are helpful and wanting to help you be successful as well. And then we have conservation-focused activities with the same approach. It is taking archery tournaments, whether it's regional, state, or even nationals, and offering quick bow hunting focused activities or stations, such as a scavenger hunt with binoculars or homemade binoculars with toilet paper rolls, which is an important skill set used in bow hunting or just hunting in general, also with bird watching. S30A includes these activities that we created during their outdoor tournaments. It's great for fun for participants while they're not on the range to kind of give them a chance to relax. It's also fun for the families that are watching and gives everyone something to do while they're there. And then for every event, whether it's a small community shoot or a large-scale tournament, they benefit from a clear, structured planning process. And so the ATA created a workbook that revolves around event planning because, again, we want to create resources to help eliminate things on your plate. So think of planning a wedding. There's things and steps that need to be accomplished months ahead of time, and we do that with archery events. So we do step-by-step with logistics, timelines, staffing, promoting, so nothing gets overlooked. And the purpose is for a smoother execution so your team can spend more time creating a great experience for those participants. On to some success stories and case studies. We wrote a case study on John Hines Refuge. They established a temporary archery range back in 2017. We wrote the case study in 2019 with an update in 2023, and all of the information is still available and still current to this date. Their archery program is more of a community-focused outdoor activity with the flexibility to travel off-site and to other areas on the refuge. This case study includes design of the range, types of programs and events they offer, storage considerations when the program is not in use, a list of all of the equipment that they use and what they need outside of bows and arrows and quivers and targets. So then that way they can have success on the range and more. What's unique about them is they actually partner with their local bow shop that includes beyond basic maintenance and repairs on the equipment. So thinking about arrow fletching and string issues, they have that go-to archery retail shop for those needs. And then they use volunteers based on frequent users who have gained their instructor certification to help on the range and volunteer at events. So it's a really unique perspective on how they utilize archery on the refuge and then ways that they get the community involved and to continue with the sustainability of the program. One of our recent success stories, or another one, is the Texas Archery Mobile Unit. It is everything you need to conduct archery, bow hunting, and community outreach. This, for you on the call, meet the Texas Archery Range on wheels. It's more than an enclosed trailer, and Texas aims to use this as a way for urban area outreach. So really quick, just to go over the design and concept of each component. There's a back wall at the back of the trailer. The doors fold open with the additional of pipe and drape. They create a shooting alley that's mainly used for adaptive archers. This option also allows for the general public to test out different archery equipment, including crossbows, recurves, compound bows, Genesis bows, you name it. They allow folks to try it out right there. In the front, as you will see, there is a platform. They use that as a staging area. It has a nice backdrop, so then that way folks can use it as a photo opportunity. Behind that is a cooler. This room is fully installed, insulated walls, a ceiling-mounted AC unit, and a hoist system to hold any animal off the floor. So then that way, when they travel to different locations, they're able to conduct full processing of game that have been harvested. They have a 3D range on the driver's side that opens up. The post swings out 12 feet from the trailer. The post becomes a center pole for a V range. And then that way they have it as a mini 3D range for folks to try out 3D archery. The passenger side, as you'll see on the slide, the first picture in the top corner is the media side. This media room has TVs, 65-inch TVs that are fully equipped with the AccuBow system and with a PlayStation 4 hunting game. Attendees can play these interactive archery games and gain knowledge at the same time and hopefully become interested in the sport. So for them, the purpose is to start them at the level they're most comfortable with. We do have a lot of youth that are into gaming, so then that way you're giving them something that's a little bit more familiar to them, which leads them to want to try the actual range and trying a real bow. The screens are used for advertisements and play outdoor hunting shows at events, or they loop previous pictures from previous events. The camera system mounts on the door that flips up like a concession stand, and that gives them a bird's eye view of any demonstrations that they offer in front of that camera and in that area. The sound system includes microphones for everyone to hear. So it's not just throwing archery equipment into a trailer, it's fully functional, and depending on the need, depending on the area, they are able to showcase archery in many different ways. And then to continue the conversation, as Tom had mentioned earlier with the Archery Trade Association's trade show in January, within the trade show, we do offer what we call the Archery and Bow Hunting Summit. This is where we want to continue the conversation to learn what tools, marketing support, education materials, and partnership opportunities that are already in existence. So instead of trying to build everything from scratch, you'll see where existing support can easily plug directly into your strategies. Scott has given some amazing presentations on how the council can be involved. IHEA provides that as well. And then that way we are all working together. So if you'll mark your calendars, January 7th through the 10th for 2027 will be the full week of the ATA show, including the trade show, the summit, and the super show. We'll also bring back some archery tournaments into the mix, so it'll be a great full fun week. So just to give this slide just a second, to sum up the opportunity here, I want to make sure that you see the Archery Trade Association as a resource, as a potential partner. Because we don't want to just maintain what exists. We want to work with you to grow participation with intention. We want to be your go-to for any archery resources and data. My information is on the screen, and the QR code will actually lead you directly to send me an email. Whether it's an idea, a resource request, or an archery success story that you would like to share, we want to know.
Thank you, Nicole. And if you haven't been, the Archery Trade Association show is a very classy show. Incredible. I can't even count how many vendors you had this year. And the Bow Hunter Summit is I may be a little prejudiced, but it is a very informative event with some very good partners involved and really good industry participation. So as we close this out, I just want to remind you all, if you've enjoyed this content and you're interested in more, the Council of Advanced Hunting and Shooting Sports is hosting the National R3 Symposium this year in Des Moines, Iowa. And we're May 4th to the 7th. It feels minutes away, everybody. So hope to see you all there if you're interested in more of this. Nicole, if I can ask you to close out your presentation, I'm going to share
Absolutely.
one more quick slide. Okay, so just everybody, as we mentioned earlier, this content was first developed as part of the Range and Shooting Sports Committee in collaboration with the International Hunter Ed Association. This is a national committee, and all are welcome. Our next meeting will be at the in-person International Hunter Ed Association conference, and that meeting, I don't have a save the date slide, I apologize, but that's going to be June 1st through the 4th in Glendale, Arizona this year. Although this committee meets quarterly, we have 3 meetings virtually. So if you're interested in joining this committee, please reach out to me. It's for anybody who's interested in growing participation in ranges and shooting sports. So there's that. With that, I'm going to stop sharing. And it looks like everybody is finding the Q&A fine. So we have some questions for our panelists. Carl, I think the first one looks like it's going to you for the Easton Foundation resources. Do you have to be a state or federal agency to take advantage of these resources?
We can help you through your process. As far as the matching grant, you have to be a 501c3 nonprofit. Being a municipality of one sort or the other, it gives you resources to be more sustainable, but it doesn't exclude you from the opportunity. Each opportunity will be looked at individually.
Excellent.
But even if you're not a not-for-profit, we can still have conversations to help walk you through the process of doing things. It just ends at the money line. So
Excellent. Thank you. And then I think, yeah, so also, do you have the location selection metrics of interest available for others to review, such as what kind of population density are you looking for these facilities?
it's not a black and white population density. We have guidance based on research of other locations that we look at and we kind of score that. So it's not a hardcore black and white number.
Okay, great. And then this is a really good question. Knowing that there's an exceptional cost difference across the country, do you have any kind of range of cost expected for the 3 different size facilities? And I imagine that's very zip code driven.
Yeah, that's going to vary. We're working on one right now and hopefully being able to launch down in West Palm Beach, Florida, where what we could probably do for um, $600,000 or $700,000, and Georgia is going to be $1.5 million down there just for a community center. But yeah, it varies greatly across the country, so each location has to be evaluated.
And that perfectly tees up the next question. I'm just curious, how did you determine where to build the larger facilities, such as the one you mentioned in Florida? Also, how do you fund that specific example?
The National Center that we're hoping to build down in Lakeland is a partnership with the Florida Fish and Wildlife, in which they had two locations that they proposed. So they have large pieces of land and support infrastructure there. And so we're working through that whole public-private partnership. We will be personally involved in that operation as well. So they brought property as well as a lot of funding to the table. And we chose Lakeland because it fits perfectly between two international airports. The infrastructure there for tourism and people to get in and out of that area, host large events, is already in place. When you host large national and international level events, access to the facility is critical.
And that's some pretty serious consideration. I imagine these journeys are not short. It probably takes a while and a lot of collaboration to bring one of these facilities to break ground.
Mhm. It takes quite a while. The Lakeland facility is going on 3 years planning, trying to get it there.
Wow. That's some patience. I get that. Um, you mentioned repurposing existing buildings. In that scenario, does the property have to be owned, or could the funds be used for a leased property?
No, it would have to be owned. The property would have to be owned.
So,
A great example is we're working with a location now um, that has an old mall that went out of business, and the city now owns it, and they're repurposing the entire mall as a sports and entertainment complex. And they're looking at doing a 12 target, 25-meter indoor range in that facility. So that's been really great to see the repurposing of these facilities.
you say that there's actually an archery range in one of the shops in the mall, in my local mall, and that as we see that shopping dynamic changing drastically, that could be a huge opportunity for all of us if we were to be fortunate to have something like that in our zip code. Um, this isn't so much a question. I think some people are tagging on and supporting Nicole. One of our most successful archery events is Cupid's Arrow with couples and singles archery around Valentine's Day. That sounds like a lot of fun. Um, and then we love Hoverball, such a great way to bring archery into our urban centers like Yonkers, New York, and Elizabeth, New Jersey. Much easier for our staff to set up and run. I love the scalability of that and making things available with the resources you have on hand. Um, are these Archery Trade Association materials available to anyone or just those who are members with ATA? I thought you had to be a retailer, range, manufacturer, distributor, or professional to gain access to these resources. If this is the case, would most of these materials not be accessible for most archers who are interested?
That is a great question. The Archery Trade Association does create resources for their members, for those that are on the call who are connected with U.S. Fish and Wildlife, whether or a state agency. Or if you're not sure, please reach out to me because those are available to members. We do have several resources that are available to non-members at a cost, but I just want to add a note that we have expanded our membership categories, and that includes an archery range. So if you're a range, an independent range, you can become a member easily with the ATA, and you can access those resources and have full access to the ATA membership, including the trade show within that cost, and materials to download for members are free. We also have a archery service professional. So these are coaches, these are bow technicians who want to become a member from an individual themselves. It's the same thing. There's a low cost to entry, and that gives them full access to ATA member benefits, including free member download to the resources.
Nice. And I see uh, Fish and Wildlife has waited. So U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and their employees are members of ATA, which is also true for state agency employees. So I know that from my past life. And then again, Nicole mentioned that the tiered membership gives you access to the show. It's in Indiana. It's pretty accessible. I'd urge that opportunity if you could take advantage of it. Does Mr.
Scott,
Yes, sir.
yeah, I would just quickly add to what Nicole said. So if you go to the website partnerwithapayer.org, which is a service site, there's a drop down on ranges. And if you go to ranges, you'll see, well, there's about 851 ranges that the state agencies operate, both archery or firearms. But then you go down below, there's a resource guide, and there's the Archery Trade Park Development Guide is there. There's a bunch of resources for both firearms and archery ranges on that website, just informationally for folks. So it's partnerwithapayer.org, and then just go to ranges.
Excellent. That was one of the motivations for starting the Range and Shooting Sports Committee. All of the state wildlife agency employees who ran state-owned ranges had never had an opportunity to see each other and collaborate. And you know, the breadth of across the country, you have people who've been in position for 2 days to 20 years, huge opportunity to learn from each other. Carl, this one looks like it's for you. Does Mr. Green have any documentation that can be reviewed up front, or does it start with an application? Just trying to determine the best way to start the process. It looks like you have a customer, Carl.
If you would like to just reach out to me, send me an email, then we'll just schedule a discovery call. Just a conversation to see where to start, what you're looking at. We do have on our website under esdf.org. If you go to programs, the name of the program is Bring Archery to Your Community.
Nice.
And you can fill out a submission on there. You can look at the conceptual designs and pictures on there as well. But you can just simply give me give me a call or send me an email, and we'll set up a discovery call and find a place to start.
Nice. These are such complex collaborations. The council partners with state agencies to place an employee. I can't even imagine building an entire facility. So really appreciate that guidance. And then just, I guess, a specific question on one of the properties. Are you still in talks with Carson Newman University in East Tennessee for an indoor range? Very specific.
Yes, there is a conversation going on there. So we'll see
Excellent.
where that goes.
Okay, well, it looks like we've covered all the questions. I've got everything I have here. If there are no more questions, then I really want to thank our panelists, Tom, Carl, and Nicole for their time. Thank you all for joining. Stay tuned for our next edition of the webinar series, probably sometime in June after symposium. I just don't have the capacity, guys. I'm sorry. Thank you all. Hope you have a really great day and take care.